paying attention,
Right.
listening. So, and here we are a year later. Aaron Rodgers has started and played every single game, and this team just is dysfunction everywhere you look, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So, what can we expect now with Joe Philbin for the Packers to look like? My opinion is, as much as everyone wants to see something different, and they want to see it light a fire under this team, I don't expect to see a ton different when they come out. And in fact, I expect this game to be much on par with what we've seen over the last couple months.
Yep, totally. Well, okay. That's how you feel. But I think I am the eternal optimist. At least between the two of us, I'm closer to that than you are. This Packers team has been just atrocious. It's been bad. But I think with a leadership change, some structural things can change that can help this team win. For example, not taking Aaron Jones off the football field. Simple decision, not necessarily an execution problem, but a coaching issue. That can change. Actually playing Mercedes Lewis, that can change. Using him to help block for Aaron Rodgers, that can change, which, by the way, the Packers are going to need to do that today because they are without 3 guys on their offensive line today. The Packers without Brian Bulaga, Byron Bell, and Lane Taylor. So they're going to need to help because guess who's playing on the at right tackle today?
Jason Spriggs.
Jason Spriggs. That's right. So Jason Spriggs is going to play today. What are you going to do?
Well, here's the thing, though. Maybe we're going to reverse roles for a second here because Spriggs, if you look at the actual performance, he's had some really bad moments, but he hasn't played badly overall. So I'm okay with I'll tell you what, I would rather you have, if it was a choice between kicking Byron Bell out to right tackle or putting Jason Spriggs out there, I want Spriggs.
Right.
But
you don't have that choice with no Byron Bell today. But you are right. They brought him in and he was a tackle coming in. He really belongs at guard if he belongs anywhere.
Well,
Spriggs is going to benefit from getting snaps there because I don't think that they're going to have Brian Bulaga next year, and Spriggs is probably going to compete to start at right tackle next season. So this will be good for Spriggs, but I have not been encouraged by anything I've seen from Spriggs.
No, he's not going to last, and when his contract is up, it's going to be a bust pick in the second round that we traded up for a couple years ago to get him in 2016.
Yeah.
Obviously, they got to move on from him, but but here's the thing. Spriggs at least knows the offense, and he doesn't suck on every single play. So
right.
He fills in at right tackle. Justin McCray fills in at right guard. He was the right guard most of last season. So you've got a starter that knows the offense, that has played some quality snaps in this offense. So really the left guard is the only hole you're filling where I think it's really, really iffy.
Right.
And Atlanta has been beat up on defense. They've gotten some guys back, but they've been beat up on defense as well. It's a road game. They shouldn't play well, but they will.
Right.
I joke all the time, and I said, we talked about how the defensive secondary is going to cover the Atlanta passing game and who's going to cover Julio Jones and who's going to cover Calvin Ridley. And, so you put, Bashad Breeland on Julio and you put Jair Alexander on Calvin Ridley and watch Mohamed Sanu go off for, his typical, 180 and 3 touchdowns and have a career day. Have a career day. So
Christopher in the chat says there's really no drop-off between Bell and McCray. I actually can't disagree with you.
No, that's why I said.
There's a chance McCray is better than Byron Bell.
That's what I'm saying. And you had the Mike McCarthy effect. Oh, Byron Bell's played a lot of snaps. I'll put him on there. It's
right.
Bad McCarthy impersonation.
Right. No, I think it was fine. It was fine.
So it's frustrating with the way he operated, but we're past that now. Hopefully Philbin does not do that over these last 4 weeks. Put some guys out there. Let's get a look at some of the young players and look ahead to next year. And there's going to be a lot of draft talk. It's already happening. We're not going to talk draft today. We can maybe entertain some questions on Wednesday when we do the show.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where we're at and what we have to do. But for today, focusing on Atlanta and Green Bay. Jeremy, what is up with Jimmy Graham?
Broken thumb. Already can't block. Still put him out there to be a blocker.
I was so excited when they signed him, and I understand he's been injured, but he doesn't have the speed. Like, what did Green Bay think they were getting when they signed him? Because I thought it was going to be more than this.
Right. Well, Jersey Al said that he's slow, which, yes, he's slow. He's slower than he used to be. We know that. But I refuse to give up on Jimmy Graham. So I think the way that things have gone this year, it has been an overall failure for the offense, and nobody's really standing out and shining. Even Aaron Jones, as good as he's not been able to shine because McCarthy kept taking him off the field. So nobody really has stood out on the offense. Okay, I lie. Devontae Adams has stood out. He's the one and only who has really stood out this season.
Aaron Jones.
Right, but like I'm saying, he was limited, and so I'm saying if he
David
was
Bakhtiari.
limited, there's a good chance that Bakhtiari. Shut up. Anyways, there's a good chance part of Jimmy Graham's limitation is just how they were using him. Maybe they used him to block a lot.
Yeah,
that's never been a thing that he's done well, and they still used him to block a lot. So maybe Jimmy Graham gets a little more action in a receiving role, which was expected for him. Hopefully, that's something that happens going forward, and I'm hoping he's still on the team next year. I don't want them to move on.
So, because we've seen examples of veterans who have an off year and then they come back and it's like, ooh, they played really well. It's a good thing they didn't get rid of that player. Peter Bukowski, Locked On, reminded me this week that, not me personally, but all of us, that Brian Bulaga is only 31 years old.
Yeah.
And I was among those that said, hey, they got to move on from him. I don't think he's going to be – he's hurt all the time. I think you got to find a better option. And if the Packers can find one, if they find somebody who looks to be an option in the draft – sure, then I think they make that pick, but
right.
Bulaga could potentially give you another 5 to 6 years of if he stays healthy, which is a big if.
Right.
So
big question
so
mark.
it may not be as bad of a need or a move as one would think. I don't know, but that's something that they're going to have to address moving forward. And I also think Jimmy Graham should come back next year, and at least you bring him to camp. If you want to let him go afterwards, that's fine. Let him catch on somewhere else. That's totally fine. But I think the tight end situation needs some young blood, and they need to get a youngster in there and somebody who can do a little bit of everything. I mean, look at Robert Tonyan. Robert Tonyan is not a great blocker.
Right.
But he has a really good football attitude. And I talk about that all the time, about the attitude, and when you look at how they play and they get fired up and he's got a personality. Jair Alexander, personality. Oren Burks, I feel like, is eventually going to bring it when he gets into his role. And, God, that guy, I would love to see him have a big last month of the season. He's playing. He's active because I saw him walking out through the tunnel.
Right. Joe Philbin said this week when talking about the tight ends, he said, I like all of them. I think they all have a little bit of a unique skill set. Robert Tonyan's kind of an emerging player. I would like to see him a little bit more if we can.
Yeah.
So hopefully more Robert Tonyan, hopefully more Mercedes Lewis.
When you've got the tight end, Robert Tonyan, the backup tight end running the only shot play that you've completed this entire season, I think you should give him more snaps. So
I think he's got, that was a 54-yard reception, and I think total on the year he has 59 yards receiving. He's got 2 catches. So
he's going to make some plays. He's going to make some plays this last month if he doesn't get hurt.
Yeah.
He's going to do some things for sure. He definitely will. So
Game Misconduct asks why the Packers haven't used Mercedes Lewis as a lead blocker or a guy to throw the ball to in the flat. Why?
No, I have no answer for you.
Nobody does. We don't know. Nobody knows why. We don't understand. What's the point of the finding?
Because the one time they got him threw him a short pass on misdirection.
He dropped
it? No, he caught it and was wide open and he rumbled all the way down the sideline.
Oh, so they took him off the field then.
Was that against Miami? Because it was a home game.
I think so. And he rumbled pretty far.
Maybe it was the New England game. I don't know. All these games just have melded together this season because they all look so similar.
Yeah.
I haven't been excited on a Saturday for Sunday football in such a long time.
Yeah.
And I made the comment to Jeremy before the show that the Packers are not going to go to the playoffs this season.
Hey, man, 5% chance. There's still a chance.
Okay. You done? All right. So by the time they will have played their first playoff game next season, okay?
Yeah.
There you go. There's my optimism. Okay, ring the bell. Ding-a-ling-a-ling. It will have been almost 1,000 days since the Packers played in a playoff game. The last playoff game that they appeared in was the NFC Championship game following the 2016 season in Atlanta when the Georgia Dome was still a building. It's not even a building anymore. It's rubble.
All right, Philip Tallman asks, is losing better here to get a higher draft pick? Serious question. We talked about this a little last week. Jason, is losing better here?
No, I don't think losing is ever going to help your team's confidence and in seeing what you've got moving forward and being like, hey, this team has some moxie. We didn't get it done this season, but they come into next year and they're like, hey, let's remember how we did that last month of the season. I think that can have a positive effect for those players that are going to be here next year. And winning these next 4 games will put you at what, 8-7-1?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be picking in the middle of the round, but listen. You got to trust your administration, whether they're picking in the middle of the round or at the end of the round, that they're going to make the best picks for this team possible. I mean, the biggest loss that you have when you pick in the middle to late round is the first round elite player, blue chip guy. But from that point forward, everybody is kind of on a level playing field. I mean, you could say, no, you're not, because the first pick of the draft essentially gets 2 first-rounders because they've got, and all this stuff. But it's like, listen, everybody makes the first 32 picks. The first 15 are obviously very supreme and elite. But the percentage and the odds of those teams making a good pick are not high because those teams didn't play well for a reason. And a lot of it usually, by the odds, says it's because the team is mismanaged, misrun, the front office didn't do well, or the coaching staff didn't do great, and there's other factors that kind of keep it from being successful. So that's my counter-argument to lose out to get a better draft pick. Plus, what are draft picks?
They're not a guarantee.
Not.
So, okay, but here's the thing. The Packers are in a no-lose situation. Even if they lose, it improves the draft pick. If they win, and it keeps the chances there that they can get into the playoffs. So it's kind of one of those things at this point in the year, as bad as they've been, I'll take either one. I prefer to watch them win. It would be more fun to watch them win. Man, the energy at the bar the last few weeks has been so dead because they've been so abysmal, and I really don't want that anymore. I want to enjoy football on Sunday, and it's been a while since that Bears game was the most exciting, fun thing that we watched this season, and that was week 1. That was like forever ago.
Well, I'd imagine the Niners game was exciting too, but I was there live. I didn't get to experience it with all of you guys. And the energy here wasn't about the people. It was about the game. Let me make that very clear. And as Mark Murphy is shown walking down the hallway at Lambeau Field towards his heated luxury skybox seat, I'm sure, Murphy implemented an interesting structure in Green Bay before this season whereby he has the final say on all football operation things. So you've got Brian Gutekunst, GM, you've got you had Mike McCarthy, head coach, and Mark Murphy, and it was a trifecta. What do we think is as far as a head coach coming in, do you think that's going to affect who comes here? If they're like, listen, I don't like this structure, you going to keep it? Because if you are, then I'm going to interview for some other jobs.
No, I don't think so because it is how the Pittsburgh Steelers are run. It is how teams with owners throughout the league do run, where the owner has the final say and the GM has the personnel say. And I think that's a fine structure. We're just not used to it because there's no owner. So I don't have a problem with the structure. I don't have a problem with the way that it is until it's a problem. It's currently not a problem. It's not a thing to really be concerned about until it's a thing to be concerned about. You know what I'm saying? Like, it hasn't failed, so quit freaking out. Let's let it play out. And when it's bad, then fine. Bring your complaints. Say what you need to say. But right now, it's not been a problem. And I think the hire of Brian Gutekunst has been good. I like what Gutekunst has done so far. He's been very quick to fill spots on the roster, which is so different from what Ted used to do. I feel like there were times when Ted would there would be empty spots on the roster, but Ted wasn't in a rush to go replace anybody. And Gutekunst has done a good job keeping the roster full. The signing of Bashad Breeland, even though he's been unhealthy, was a smart choice and the right choice to make. And it's not a choice that Ted would have made. So right. I like where Brian Gutekunst is at, and I think the structure is fine as long as Mark Murphy keeps his head on his shoulders, because if he gets a big head in this, it could become a mess. That's where it could become a mess. If he gets a big head, he's making mistakes, and he refuses to give in, that's where it could become a mess. Like Jerry Jones and the way that he used to run the Cowboys, right? Like, if Mark Murphy starts making those kinds of mistakes, as soon as Mark Murphy starts saying, I'm going to make picks on draft day, I have a problem.
Right.
He's not going to do that.
Major overstep.
Yeah.
Yeah, major overstep. All right, so the keys to the game today, offensively, they've got to get into some kind of a rhythm, and that means Aaron Jones has got to carry the ball. And I don't want to see the Aaron Jones in quarters 1 and 3 and Jamal Williams in quarters 2 and 4.
Nope.
Garbage. I don't want to see that. Defensively, they've got to start taking the ball away. You got to find a way to take the ball away.
I have a prediction. I think Aaron Rodgers throws for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns today.
Aaron Rodgers has done that on several occasions, and the Packers have still lost games.
But they're also going to lean on Aaron Jones when needed and not take him off the football field.
So
that can be a difference.
So their best defense today is going to be a really good and sound offense.
Because Julio Jones is playing today. This could become a shootout.
Yeah, no.
The Packers defense, as young as they are, they're probably going to struggle against Julio. They're probably going to. That's, Jair has been great, but he also does get beat. He's young. He is inconsistent. When he has big plays, they're really big, right? But he doesn't always have big plays. So Julio's probably going to get his today, and the defense is going to struggle against him. I don't expect the Falcons to do much in the running game, but the Falcons' defense is terrible this season, and so I think these two teams could go back and forth. It could be a high-scoring game, which actually, with what we just watched, that Arizona Cardinals game and how crappy that was, I'd be fine with a shootout. Let everybody score. Go crazy as long as the Packers come out on top.
Yeah. Keep the Falcons offense off the field because whatever they're not doing well, they're going to start to do well against Green Bay. That's just been the story all season. This season.
Right.
This season. Next year is different. It'll be different, and we can, I'm going to.
You're going to hit the reset button in the offseason?
Well, right now, I am. I promise that I will. Because
the emotional reset button.
It's the only fair thing to do because I know I've been very negative this season.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of bad things that have happened.
Fairly.
It's because I don't trust this team. I don't trust it. That's why I didn't pick them in the show Wednesday to win this game because I don't think that they can't. But show me first. That's just kind of the way I operate.
I don't even remember what I picked on the show Wednesday because I do my pick here. So whatever I said Wednesday, we're going to erase that.
You said they weren't going to win.
Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see what I say at the end of the show. Special teams today. Mason Crosby, the struggles. Do they continue?
I don't know. It's bad. The weather's not good for kicking anymore, and Crosby's leg just apparently does not work past 40 yards anymore.
Do they replace Mason Crosby in the offseason or attempt to?
They could. They could. This is Brian's team, man. I'm telling you right now, they talked about roster turnover and how there could be a huge overhaul this season. Even though you've got a lot of really good players, Crosby's gotten you to this point. He's done a lot of really good things, and he's won a lot of games for this team. This season, he's not been great. And he's been getting a pass because of all of the focus that's been placed on McCarthy and Rodgers and the issues there. No one's talking about Mason Crosby. And I'd almost say if you put this season up against 2012, Crosby hasn't consistently missed, but he's missed many times. And it's almost like if you look at the number of misses he had in 12 versus this year, they're probably not that different, but the conversation was so different about Mason Crosby in 2012. Right. Everyone wanted him gone.
I love Mason. I'm glad he's been here as long as he has.
He can't kick the ball through the end zone on kickoffs anymore, and I knew he wasn't making that kick last week because it's in the cold and it was too far.
Yeah. Penguin Man says Falcons hold on 24-23.
Probably.
We'll
see.
Just wait for predictions.
Yeah.
We'll get there, but I am with the removal of McCarthy, I'm feeling more optimistic, and that's not a slight against McCarthy. We all know where this was at. I just want to say this: the era of Mike McCarthy was fantastic, and I am glad that I got to watch it. I'm grateful for who Mike is as a coach. He seems to be the kind of guy that you really want as a coach. His personality, the way he was in the community, I appreciate Mike McCarthy very much. It was time to move on. I don't think Joe Philbin's going to be any kind of crazy spark, but I'm going to assume today we're going to see some hurry-up offense, and Aaron Rodgers is going to call a lot of plays today.
I don't think we spent enough time talking about Mike McCarthy on Wednesday's show, and I feel bad about it because he has been a huge part of this team's success, and the recency effect is not fair because he came in 2006 when the Packers were kind of middling. Yeah. They were literally 8-8 that year. It was his first season, and that was him trying to corral Brett Favre and say, listen, this ain't the Sherman era anymore. Your locker room is our locker room, and you're going to do all the things that we're going to do, and lo and behold, what happened in 2007? He came out and lit the world on fire. They were a great machine until the NFC Championship game. So I think that, had McCarthy stayed, there's a good chance that they might have bounced back next year and done some really good things. He's a good coach. I hope he finds success somewhere else because he legitimately is a good guy. The problem is in the media, because the way the team asks the coaches and the team to and the players to speak to the media, we see only a very small percentage of who he is. And I think it's easy to forget the other 13 years, the other 12 years that he was here. 4 NFC Championship game appearances is not horrible, for not being Bill Belichick. So I appreciate McCarthy, and then, of course, he takes out the ad in the paper. Folks, I'm going to tell you something right now. That was not a PR ploy. That was not, hey, do this to save face. It was not Winston Moss calling up his buddy at Fox and setting up a really stupid interview.
Did you see what he said?
For optics, I did. That was Mike McCarthy's decision, and from the heart, 100%.
Right.
He's a good man. I wish him well.
Winston Moss said today Aaron Rodgers was the coach of the Green Bay Packers for the last 9 years. That's what he said. Smart guy. Winston Moss, I'm actually really shocked that he went on TV. That kind of blew my mind. I didn't expect him to do that. But anyways, John Knapp asks how we think Philbin will do in play calling today. I think it's been 20 years, by the way, since he's called plays. I think Philbin will keep it simple. He'll be simple. He'll keep it small. He's not going to do anything crazy. I think some of the stuff that we're going to see today, it's the part of the playbook that we haven't seen much, and that's shallow passes, letting the receivers do the work, crossers, slants, things that are going to use the middle of the field. The Packers are like number one for passes outside the numbers, and I think that changes today. That starts to change today, and that's I think that is a huge key to them getting things on track. Stop doing what you were doing because it wasn't working. So that's what I expect from Joe Philbin. Nothing crazy, keeps it simple. Rodgers runs the hurry up a bunch.
He's not. He won't be. It won't be crazy. It's going to be a lot of what we've seen before. I mean, the formula in this team and what you see today is going to be what's gotten them here. It's not going to be markedly different all of a sudden. This was, Joe Philbin is there to, just make sure that they feel the team for 4 weeks. He's not there to change the culture and turn it all around and make magic happen. So it'll be a lot of the same, but the Falcons are struggling, and this is a good time to get a team like that, and it's in Green Bay. So if are factors to favor Green Bay in this matchup, it's what you see today. This, struggling Falcons on the road, away from the dome, in the cold. Let's see if they can the Packers can finally do what they do in December, which is win football games, especially at Lambeau Field.
Sly Upa asks this fantastic question. Why doesn't Winston Moss talk about his linebackers? Hey-oh. Because they suck, and he has nothing, what can he say about it? The outside linebacker group has been so terrible this season. Can't talk about that stuff. Let's talk about coaching issues and accountability and all that stuff instead.
Kyler Fackrell's been good.
Kyler Fackrell had one game. Okay, Kyler Fackrell has had a decent season. I'll give you that.
It's amazing to me how you and I are physically unable to sync up. It's like on game day, here comes Crosby. He's got a chance to send this game to overtime. Like, he's going to miss. You stop it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, if it's not me, it's you. If it's not you, it's me.
No, here's the thing. Fackrell has been okay, right? But with a guy like Clay Matthews and Nick Perry, and Perry's never healthy, I expected more from this outside linebacker group. And, Winston Moss doesn't really have a whole lot of room to talk because the linebackers haven't really been great for a while. It's not just this year. It's been a while since they've been able to get pass rush. So Mike Witt asked why no Donnerson today. Probably because there were enough more important guys healthy that they couldn't activate him today. For example, Bashad Breeland's back today. And you need a veteran presence against that wide receiver group. So that's a guy you would activate over Donnerson. So, and then, again, with the offensive line issues, having to activate some backup offensive linemen you probably wouldn't have. Adam Pankey is going to play today, or at least he's active. So there are other guys who had to be activated over Donnerson. And, what's Donnerson going to do today anyways if he's active?
It's a puzzle. Putting the roster together every week, and you have to be smart with who's active based on the matchup and the players across from you. So you'll see Donnerson. If they lose today, I think you'll see more of the young guys play in the next 3 weeks because they still have a chance. They still have to try to play to win. Because if you win this week, you build up momentum for what is a prideful matchup regardless of what the circumstances are next week, Packers-Bears. You can't go into Chicago and lay an egg.
Nope. If they beat the Bears this season and no one else, I will be satisfied.
I hate to say it. I'm not going to say it's our Super Bowl because that's so a Minnesota Vikings, Detroit Lions, Chicago Bears mentality, not a Packers mentality. But that would be a grade A victory if they beat the Bears on the road next week. So, all right, prediction time. You go first. Lead off.
Oh, you want me to go first?
Right,
okay.
lead us off.
Like I said, I think Rodgers goes for 350, 3 touchdowns, has a good day. No interceptions. I think the Packers are going to win big today in a shootout. I think they win 35-31.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't see 30 points being broken.
It's happening.
No.
It's happening.
24-21 Falcons, and it's just going to be more of the same. The Packers will probably have a chance to tie it late, and they'll do what they do.
Dream with me, Jason. Just join me in this land of positivity. Put your green and gold glasses on like I do.
I will next week.
And just believe.
If they win today and prove me wrong, then next week against the Bears, you'll get optimistic Jason.
All right, fair enough. I will wear my green and gold glasses throughout the week for you. I will hold that optimism strong for the show
All right, good.
We'll see how I feel after this game.
And there is one more home game after this one, and it is the last week of the season against the Detroit Lions on New Year's Eve. If you want to see that game, go visit theticketking.com. You can't buy tickets to Green Bay Packers football games because they are sold out for the next 30 years. The only way to get tickets is to go on to the secondary market, and why trust the big guys when you can get the fantastic service that Ticket King brings to you. They've got the office right next to Lambeau Field. You can pick up your tickets there. You can have them shipped to you. They've always done me very, very well, and it's probably going to be a pretty good value. So get on there and take a look. It's at theticketking.com. They've been great sponsors of ours, and we appreciate them for that.
I did not do the drawing for the hat. I will do that after the show, so pay attention to Twitter since that's where the giveaway is. If you have not entered for the drawing yet, you can go to our Twitter account at CHTV Live. We're giving away a signed hat from Marco Rivera. You can enter to win that. We'll do the drawing shortly here, so if you want to get in on that, make sure you go. It's the pinned tweet on top of our Twitter account. So make sure you follow the instructions, and you'll get in on the drawing for that.
Awesome. All right, so we'll be back on Wednesday to do Cheesehead TV Live, break this one down, preview the Bears. Hopefully it's good news today from Lambeau Field, but until then, it's Jason and Jeremy for Cheesehead TV Live.
Thank you for listening to Cheesehead TV Live. Check out cheeseheadtv.com for more great Packers content.